Hey, this is Gordon for Inspiration Tuts, and today we're gonna work on the flamethrower. As you can see here, this is an incredibly beautiful weapon, and we're gonna work on it in 3ds Max. I hope you like it, so give it a thumbs up if you will, and subscribe to our channel if you are new, and let's do this. Alright, here we are. This is gonna be the first part in creating actually the first section of the flamethrower. This is actually what you're gonna see in front of you, and there are also the package or the backpack that is gonna be attached to the flamethrower that we're gonna work on later. So we're gonna start off with a simple cylinder as always, and just trying to create our way to the very end. And we're gonna walk through this process slowly. It may take a little bit long. It may take a little bit longer than we anticipate, but I think the result in the end is gonna be worth it. So of course we are going to actually I'm gonna link to the reference image I have here in the description or in the comment section below. And as you can see here, I'm trying to use this cylinder as a starting point, and after that we're going to use, of course, we're going to use the edge extrusion method, which is a very powerful method that we're going to use here, and is going to allow us to get the work we want done. Okay, and keep in mind that we need always to keep holding shift when moving, and we're going to use the move tool, and also we're going to use the scale tool to scale up. Okay, sometimes these bolts here are we are going to create them individually. Actually, they're not going to be part of this tube, so just to make sure that we have some flexibility. Okay, now we're going to create one of these bolts, and okay, we're gonna rotate. You're gonna use the angle snap to gold, or you can use the icon, or you can just hit A from the keyboard to activate it. Okay, and of course to see through the mesh, you're gonna have to hit X from the keyboard, which is the shortcut for X-ray, or you can just create an empty, you can pick an empty slot in the material editor and reduce the opacity to, I don't know, maybe 10, 15 to 20%, and apply it to the mesh or to the object to allow you to see what's going on clearly. And as you can see here, I am trying to inset some of these polygons here, and there is a problem here actually, because I overdid it. I don't know for what. I didn't even feel that was a problem I created, but yeah, we're gonna fix this quickly. It's not a big of a deal. And of course, the ability to solve problems and deal with mistakes is one of the most important characteristics and skills you need to learn. And if you don't have the ability to solve problems, then you're gonna suffer a lot, because most of the work you do, especially if you are a beginner, is to figure things out, to struggle and to learn. And if you don't have the patience and the tolerance and the willingness to solve problems, then it's gonna be a problem. It's gonna be your biggest problem actually. And after a lot of work, you're gonna reach a point when you are gonna be able to be you're gonna be certain that you're gonna have the ability to actually execute and finish any type of model you want, regardless of what it is, unless it is something completely new to you. And until you reach that point, you've got to figure things out. And sometimes I don't show you everything, by the way. And that's where you are going to, of course, use this magic that I'm talking about, which is figuring out what you need to do on your own. Most of the things I do, most of the things I show you here are simple, basic, and you can follow through. You can achieve the results I am sharing with you. But sometimes I leave some unanswered questions. Sometimes I don't do everything. Sometimes I don't show you everything. Sometimes I stop the video and do some tweaking here and there, and you're gonna notice some different in results. Yes, sometimes this happens, but this is a learning process, and you don't want to be a copy of me. You want to learn. You want to be a student. You don't want to be a follower. You want to learn the techniques and implement them on your own work, or in your own projects. And this is what is gonna give you the most growth and the best results possible. Okay, we are now creating these bolts here, and I'm sure that this weapon is extremely effective, and these bolts and these little details are gonna make sure that probably for the gas not to leak or something like that, or the fuel, whatever they use. And there are some amazing, interesting details. I actually want to go. I kind of want to push the details in this part of the in this weapon actually to an extreme level, but since I like these details, especially the textures, I believe I'm gonna do I'm gonna have a lot of fun texturing this one, because it seems like it has some interesting details, and the actually the flexibility and the different metal materials is gonna be it's gonna be a good learning experience. Okay, this tutorial is gonna be probably 3, maybe 2 hours, around 2 hours. So I hope you have the patience to walk through it safely. All right, now we spent a good amount of time here actually trying to create these small details over here, and actually this is extremely important, because some of the details here are kind of important, and some other details we can cover them using some techniques and some tricks that are gonna cover for the lack of details. But for the most part, most of the things that we are doing here are extremely necessary, so we don't want to skip them. And I can see that the details that the player is gonna see are a little bit less from the when we're gonna see the weapon from the back, the kind of the back top view, which is not gonna allow us to see most of the details, because most of the details are in the front and the player is probably not gonna see. But anyways, this is just it's about the journey. It's not about the destination. as they say. Okay, now I'm trying to um, allow the second tube to break through this original line, and this is something good to do because we want to keep these two parts kind of we want to make the viewer believe that they are actually one piece, actually, to be honest. And especially when something this is extremely close to the camera, it's gonna be a critical um, it's gonna be a critical thing to do because depend actually it depends on uh, this is something that that is very known in the game development, and the details when the model we are working on is extremely close to the camera, it demands that we add a lot more details because it is for the most part what the viewer or the player is going to focus on. Or for example, if we are creating some little props that are going to be part of the environment, and the player is not going to check very closely, we probably don't have to add a lot of details to them. It kind of depends at the end. I wish I had more time to kind of fast forward the process, but at the end of the day, my time is limited, and the um, the project and the models I work on is limited. And now, as you can see here, I'm going to use a line, and this line is going to represent the tube that is going to be attached to the essential one. And of course, as you can see here, I activated the rendering viewport option, which is going to allow us to give a three-dimensional look to the line. It's kind of conversion from the two-dimensional version to a three-dimension uh, type of look. Okay, we're gonna try to push these lines a little bit further to allow that space and to allow these two parts to join each other. Okay, we need to push this tube a little bit away, and we need to be a little bit careful here because if we push these vertices very close to each other, it's gonna be a problematic thing, because when we apply the turbo smooth, um, it's going to leave some distortions and some unwanted appearance right there. Okay, we're gonna borrow this bolt over there, and I'm gonna copy it as I'm gonna create a copy, and of course you're gonna make sure that whatever we do is not gonna be these are instances, so whatever we do, we're gonna make sure that is gonna suit both of these bolts, because they are kind of they are gonna be affected. All right. Now we're going to create or work on another section of this weapon, which is a little bit different than the other one, and we're gonna add some interesting details as well. We're gonna use 18 sides, and we're gonna rotate about 90 degrees and push a little bit and convert to edible poly. Delete that part over there to allow our sounds to work using the border, and we're gonna of course keep Alt and Shift all the time. Scale things down a little bit. And sometimes, as you can see here, the reference image is not going always to give us exactly what we want to work with. So sometimes when you are working on a reference image, it's not going to be perfect, and you need to always realize that this is going to be the case for a lot of these reference images, because they cannot have a perfectly perpendicular view to the it's not gonna be, the camera is not gonna be completely perpendicular to the flat surface of the reference image. At least it's not gonna be this is not gonna be the case when it comes to all the parts of the weapon. So now we're gonna create another cylinder, and this time this is gonna be representing this other tube that the gas or the fuel is gonna walk through, and then it's gonna reach the opening that we just worked on. Okay, do the same thing, and okay, push it right there. Okay, and extrude this one a little bit out. Okay, we need to add that segment right there, because this is going to allow us to create that small detail on the top. Actually, this weapon doesn't need a sight because there are no bullets whatsoever. It's gonna be a random mess when the player opens fire, especially in in real life, when you see that flamethrower like spitting these fires. It's hilarious. And you don't want to be a person facing these flames. The battlefield is gonna be free. and you don't want that to be the last thing you see. It's gonna be extremely dangerous. And this weapon is extremely effective when there is a short distance in short distance combat. It's gonna be extremely effective. You can take down tens of soldiers if you have the element of surprise with you. It's gonna be a mess. It's gonna be ugly. It can actually shoot fire for basically almost 20 meters, I believe, and it's gonna be the wide range of the fires is gonna be extremely extremely effective to destroy everything within that range. And now we're gonna create, as you can see here, we're gonna create this plane here, which is gonna allow us to create the trigger area and whatsoever, and this handle over there. And basically, in this area, it looks like a normal weapon or a something that we are used to create. And we actually created some of these weapons, and we had a lot of fun doing that. And it's always a good thing to work on something interesting and detailed like this. And it actually feels that you accomplished something when you're done with it. It feels like an accomplishment, and you can pat yourself in the back. It feels like you accomplished something. And if you are a beginner and you can create this, then it is great. Actually great. And the to be honest, and I don't want to kind of discourage you, but I believe the modeling process is the easiest thing. It's not easy in the sense that you can it's not easy in the sense that it is not difficult at all, but when it comes to other things that you're gonna do after the modeling, you're gonna realize that the modeling process is something a lot easy to attain, and the unwrapping is not that hard, but it's critical. The texturing as well. You can create a wonderful weapon, and if you don't know how to unwrap your model, or if you don't know how to texture it or use the right textures, or even if you don't know how to bake the your maps and stuff, then it's not gonna look as great as it is supposed to look. But all this comes with, of course, with practice, repetition. Repetition is the mother of skill, I guess they say. Repeat. Exercise. And of course they say that you need 10,000 hours to master anything. I believe in 3D you need more than that. Probably you need 10,000 hours to master the modeling, and probably modeling and unwrapping. You need 10,000 hours. Probably. They actually say that this rule that was created, or that was pioneered by Malcolm Gladwell, that it's not actually true, because you need more than that. Okay, now we're gonna give this model over here, we're gonna give it some thickness. Okay, as you can see here, we're going to we're going to, of course, as you've seen, I applied the material of opacity to whatever I'm working on, and now we're going to create another cylinder. And this area you can see me working on right here is probably the most detailed, and I like it. I love it. It's interesting, and the level of details there are interesting as well. And probably here I'm gonna stumble a little bit, and I'm gonna go back and forth, because sometimes you don't understand the thing you are working on until you work on it. And I found that a good preparation for working on a complex model is to draw the is to work on the concept yourself. If you are the one who created the concept for the model, then it's gonna be super fast to to decode the elements and the details and start modeling right away. But if you are looking at the sometimes it amazes me, the details are in the front of my eyes, but frankly I cannot see them clearly until I start working and then take a kind of look at it from a distance and realize I should have not done that the right way, or that way, or I should have done that differently. It kind of, until you start working on it, and until you start working on it, you cannot see the full picture and you cannot see the details clearly. And there is a practice that I used to do and I'm still doing, which is to draw for example, this weapon. I draw it, whether in Photoshop or in real life using a pencil and paper. It's kind of helps your mind to understand and to grasp the details of the model before you start. So before you start modeling, you are already in a state of awareness that these details exist. Okay, and if you see something complicated for the first time, even if you gaze at it, if you start looking at it for half an hour, you cannot fathom all the details that it contains until you start drawing them or you start modeling them. So drawing the details is actually a good preparation to gain some time in the modeling process. Even it seems like you're wasting time before starting modeling, because knowing what you're gonna do ahead of time is gonna help you actually to gain time, because sometimes when you don't know the how many details are there and what these details are, you're gonna go back and forth trying to fix what you didn't notice the first time. Okay, we're gonna use this cylinder here. Actually, I spent a little bit more time than necessary in this area because I was trying to understand what's going on here and how to do it. Okay, now we're gonna inset, as you can see here, and selecting these vertices right there and scaling. Of course, there is a trick. We're gonna, of course, from constraint, we're gonna shift to face, as you can see. I hope you've seen that, because it is extremely important. The constraints from none to face. And now we're going to create a bridge over here, and make sure there is the same number of edges. of course, you're gonna shift the from view to local to allow yourself to work on these vertices and on these edges locally. Dude, it seems like this thing here is a little bit smaller than I anticipated. We're gonna make things a little bit bigger. Okay, now we're gonna try some unbelievable things here. Because now as I'm doing this, you can see that there are multiple possibilities here. And the thing is, this is art. You're gonna do whatever it takes. And you just need to get the thing done. You need to achieve the result. This is the most important thing, actually. Okay, now we are trying to actually scale down, but as you can see here, the vertices are moving in a weird manner, so we probably want to skip that for now. And it's actually a good thing because this metal tube right there is not completely round. It's kind of narrow in the center. No, it's okay. This is what we are talking about. It's not completely round. Oh boy. So now, actually, the result you want to achieve is the most important thing. So if you can figure out a way to do this faster than I did, and I believe that I had multiple choices here, and probably I chose not a very good or a very easy way to do this, but you got the I hopefully got the gave you the what you need to do, what you need to kind of the result that you should aim at. And as I said before, there are multiple ways to do the same thing, especially in art. This is not an exact science where you gotta figure out the exact result necessary using the exact same method, which sucks if you are studying math or physics. It's ridiculous. Freedom is actually amazing. You don't have to do it the same way. You just need to get the goddamn result. Doesn't matter what you do. This is what is amazing about art. Probably it's not even about the result. It's about the impression that you leave on people's faces and hearts. So now we are gonna do this, which is getting. I like this part actually. It's kind of the lighter that the flamethrower is gonna use to ignite the fuel. This is an extremely dangerous weapon. I love it. Okay, now we are working on this later. As you can see here, it's gonna be an easy thing to do actually. It's not gonna be a big of a deal. But I love the details here. The details are interesting. Okay, we're gonna add 2 lines over there and scale down. Of course, you need to use local instead of view to allow yourself to work in the right angle. Okay, we're gonna use this line over here to create that tube, small tube. Probably we add a lot more. Okay, we're gonna use the render in viewport to allow ourselves to see the thickness. Reduce the thickness a little bit more. And here, this one, this small one, I believe there are a lot of vertices. Probably we should delete a few of these, select them and delete from the keyboard. Okay, great. Okay. Alright, we are close to the end of part 1, which is interesting, by the way. So, there are some few things we worked on over here, and Most of them are kind of the basics, or the foundation for this weapon. Keep holding shift to extrude the edges. Keep holding shift always to drag and scale out. Okay, we need to scale this area a little bit because it's interesting over there. And yeah, like this video if you will, subscribe to our channel, and I will see you in the next part.